How are you all doing? It's good to see y'all today. Hey. All of you beautiful people. Welcome to today's live broadcast. Y'all already know that I am Angel Charmaine, and I'm so excited to have the conversation that we're going to have today. I'm super duper excited. There's going to be a little shift from what we have been talking about because today, hold on a second, y'all. Hey, I am on live.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
I
But
call
look,
you.
I'm finna
Hold on,
get
hold
back
on,
to son.
hold on a second.
Wait.
Hold on a second. Okay, hello. I'm back, y'all. I'm back. Please excuse me. Okay. Please excuse me. Excuse me. Hello, Shirley. How you doing? Listen, sometimes those calls come in. We take those calls. Yeah, I'm like, I'm on my live right now. I'm working. It's good to see you, Shirley. It's been a minute since I have seen you in the spaces, sis. So thank you so much for coming in. Today, we're going to be talking about something that every writer, whether you're just starting or you've been in it for years, you need to embrace, right? And that is finding your voice as a writer. And if you've ever struggled with sounding like you on the page, then the conversation that we're going to have is for you today. So I welcome you all to come on in. The previous conversations that we've been having at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time have dealt a little bit more with being empowering and helping you to be encouraged and inspired and all of the things. But this 11 o'clock hour is time for me to share knowledge that I have with you, share wisdom that I have with you all, whether it's about being a writer, because I am an author. I have 4 published pieces of work, whether it's about being a mom, whether it is about being an entrepreneur, right? Whether it's me sharing from the place of being an authenticity coach. I'm going to be showing up in all of the spaces to help you all, and in the best way that I know how at 11 o'clock. All is good on your end. It's our thank you. Absolutely. And you know what's interesting, Shirley? I've been seeing more of your daughter's content in my timeline for some reason. Whenever she posts something, she doesn't post all the time, but whenever she does post, I've been seeing it coming up in my feed quite a bit, sis. So that's what's up. I pray that she is doing well. Pray that you're doing well. All right. So we're going to go ahead and jump into this today. I know that people come in and out as they please, and that is so okay. But I'm going to go ahead and get started. You all already know, if you are one of my subbies, then you already know that this live will be saved in my subscribers only section of my page, and you'll have access to the replay so you can watch it whenever you feel like it. Those of you who are not subscribers, you can go ahead and become subscribers. That's what's up. It's $1.99 a month. And you have access to the replays of all of these videos. There's also other types of content that I put in that space. You actually have access to talk directly to me and all that good stuff. So If that's something you're interested in, then feel free to connect. All right. So the first thing I want to talk about is what what is a writer's voice? All right, what is a writer's voice? If you're watching this live or on the replay, put in the comments if you are an author. Are you an author? Are you a poet? Do you write blogs? Are you a writer of some sort? Let me know who are my writers that are listening, because this conversation is going to be for writers. If you are an aspiring writer, I would absolutely love to know that as well. Okay, so let me know. And if you see my eyes darting all over the place, it's because I'm reading comments. I'm taking a look at my notes and all the things. Okay, so please excuse these eyeballs if they're moving all over the place. Shirley says, I have learned so much from you about writing. She is doing well. I don't see you much at all. You know what? The new algorithms are showing us people we don't necessarily want to see. I'm seeing a lot of ads, just all sorts of things, right? I'm happy that I do get to see some new people that I wasn't getting to see before, but I do miss seeing the people that I like seeing on a regular basis. So yeah, the algorithm is real funky. But let's go ahead and jump into this. So what is a writer's voice? First, let's break it down. Your writer's voice is the unique way that you express yourself through words. It's your tone, right? Are you being humorous? Are you being sarcastic, right? Are you angry? Are you expressing joy? So what is the tone of your writing? It's your rhythm, right? There's a cadence, if you will, even with your writing. Some people speak more quickly, some people speak more slowly, right? So there's a nice rhythm. There's also the way that you structure your sentences. Like you'll see some people who, instead of using semicolons and using they may use dashes. Some people may use short, choppy sentences to express emphasis and things like that, whereas some people will use more, complex sentences. So your sentence structure also helps to establish your voice inside of your writing as well, right? So a writer's voice is what makes one author's work stand out from another author's work, even when writing about the same topic. You know how you know when you're reading a piece from Maya Angelou versus a piece from Terry McMillan. Although they write very similarly, you know the difference in those writers' voices when you're reading their work because of the words they typically use. You know how they structure. You know if one uses more dialect, right? Versus another, but you know the difference in the work. Good morning. How you doing, Deborah? So right now, today, we're going to be talking about finding your voice as a writer. This conversation is for writers, whether you write in blogs, whether you write as an author, whether you write poetry. If you are an aspiring writer, this is a good conversation for you to connect with as well. All right. So if you are a writer, please put in the comments. Please put in the comments if you're a writer. Okay. Okay. So here's the thing though. Many people struggle to find their authentic voice because they're afraid it won't be good enough. Here again, we're talking authenticity. Y'all know I'm the authenticity coach. And a lot of us feel like our voice isn't good enough, or maybe our voice isn't the right voice for readers, or maybe people don't want to hear our voice, right? But the truth is that your voice is already within you. You just have to develop the confidence to use it. I don't know how many of you realize that the movie Precious, is actually based on a book. Did y'all know that? Okay, Deborah says she's a writer. Good. Deborah is a writer. Did you all know that the movie Precious is actually based on a book? Did you know that? Give me a yes or a no. If you're catching this in the replay, you can absolutely join the conversation. If you're watching live, I would love for you to be a part of the conversation as well. Deborah says yes. So have you actually read the book? Let me know if you've read the book. Okay, Shirley said no. All right. So yes, the movie Precious is based on a book. And if you read the book, oh my goodness, I'm getting all kind of phone calls today. Y'all give me a second because this is my work phone. Hold on. I'm so sorry, y'all. Yeah, Shirley. My personal phone is ringing. My work phone is ringing. Ah! So anyway, but that's not a bad thing because anytime the work phone is ringing, that's business, and so that's a good thing. So let's go ahead and jump back into this. Thank you all so much for extending some grace to me, because I come into this space at 11 o'clock to be able to extend some value to you all, to share, my own information, knowledge, wisdom. But when Speak Up Sis calls, I definitely need to do Speak Up Sis, right? All right, so I was talking about the movie Precious, and the reason I brought up the movie Precious, hey, Latoya, Dr. Mac, how you doing? So the reason I brought up the movie Precious is because the movie Precious is based on a book, actually. And if you've ever read the book, like Deborah says, she has read the book. That book is written in the voice, like the dialect, the broken English is really difficult to read. It is a difficult book to read if you're accustomed to reading standard American English and you're not actually used to what people will call the Black vernacular, right? If you're not used to reading it, many of us are used to speaking in that vernacular, but we're not used to reading it. It can be really difficult to read because you'll be reading like, oh my goodness, these words are not spelled correctly. And what is this saying or whatever. However, that particular author literally wrote that book in a specific voice without all of the. Now, here's the thing. It is very important for you to understand this, though. There's a difference between understanding writing and knowing how to use dialect and you just writing the way you talk and not knowing, you know, the standard way to write. There's a difference. And I believe many people write the way they talk because they don't know any other way to write. So if you think about if you think about writers who write in dialect, right? um they know what they're doing. They're choosing to use that dialect, and you will notice that maybe their dialogue will be in dialect, but then the narrator will be using standard American English. You have to know what you're doing. But it helps to establish your voice as a writer when you choose to write in certain ways. So all of that is a part of establishing your voice as a writer. Okay. All right. So why do writers struggle to find their voice? That's an important question, right? There are a few reasons. There are a few reasons that writers have a difficult time finding their voice. First thing is comparison, right? You read someone else's work and you think, I should be able to write like that. But listen, their voice is their own voice, y'all. Their voice is their voice. And your voice is just as valuable as anybody else's voice. So one reason that writers find it very difficult and they struggle to find their own voice in their writing is because they copycatting. Just like folks copy everything else. You'll be reading a good book, you're like, oh my gosh, I love reading Robert Frost poems. He's so intelligent and the way that he uses words. Or I love reading E.E. Cummings poems, and I love the way that he uses the all lowercase letters, and I love this, right? And oh my gosh, Terry, y'all see I use Terry McMillan because I love Terry McMillan. And you're like, oh my gosh, she just, every time I read her work, she just speaks to me. You understand? Sometimes it's difficult for writers to find their own voice because they're comparing their voice to other people's voice. And here again, you got to understand that their voice is unique to them and it is special, just as your voice is unique to you and it is special as well. Okay? So right now I'm talking about some reasons that writers struggle to find their own voice. Latoya says, baby, I'ma be me. As you should. As you absolutely should. Okay. If you are just coming into this conversation today, I am talking about finding your voice as a writer. And I know in previous weeks, I've been talking about encouragement and I've been trying to just kind of help you to stick with it and all the things. But I don't want y'all to think that every time you come here at 11 o'clock, I'm going to be talking about the same stuff. No, I'm using this 11 o'clock hour to share what I have to offer, whether it's nuggets about being an author, being a writer, whether it's about being a mother, whether it is about being an authenticity coach and helping you stand in your authenticity, right? Whether it is about being, strong in faith, like whatever it is that I feel is useful and helpful to you, I'm going to share it in the 11 o'clock hour. So I just want to make sure that those of you who are coming in and you're used to seeing me or hearing me talk about certain things, just know that, baby, we're doing potluck at 11 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. And whatever you come in and get, you take it, leave it, chew the meat without the bones, take what serves you and leave what doesn't, okay? All right, so let's keep going. Right now, I'm talking about why some writers find it difficult, why they struggle to find their own voice. And the first thing is comparison. Okay. Hey, Tashika, thank you for joining us. Latoya says the genre determines your voice too. What do you think? As a fiction author, I have to get to know my characters to bring them alive through my voice. So this is really good. This is a really good question. And you're absolutely right. The genre that you're writing in is not that the genre is going to determine your voice, because your style of writing, you're going to interject in whatever genre you choose to write. The genre will determine the type of language you're going to use, right? It's going to determine maybe your sentence structure and things of that nature. But you know what? What I find interesting is that there are authors that I know who write in different genres, but I can still tell, like, this author wrote this. I want to say it's Kimberly Lawson Roby, Hold on a second. I'm gonna look this up real quick, y'all. Give me just a second. I want to look something up really quickly. Um, uh, I think it's her. Hold on a second. Is it Kimberly Lawson Roby? Who did this? It may not be Kimberly. Hold on. There's another one. Okay. I'm gonna find it in a minute, but there's a book. It's called The Librarian. I believe it's called The Librarian. And it has one of the authors that I love to read. I thought it was Kimberly Lawson Roby, but I'm gonna check. But she did a joint writing effort with another lady who writes historical fiction, but she usually writes contemporary fiction, African American fiction. They joined hands. And what's interesting is although she was dipping her hands into a different genre, which was historical fiction, I could still see her influence and hear her voice, even though she was writing in a different genre. So absolutely, the genre you're working in is going to, you're going to have to do certain things because that genre expects that. The readers expect certain things from certain genres, but your voice, how you write, there will be some similarities where people will know, like, yeah, I can see. It's almost like your signature, right? It's like your little hand stamp. Whatever genre you're in, people are going to be like, yeah, I can hear LaToya's voice, even though she normally is writing Christian fiction, even though she's jumping into a children's book, but I can still hear her voice in this. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? Let me know. Okay, so LaToya, so you're saying it is Kimberly Lawson Roby. I think the name of the book is The Librarian. I absolutely loved it. I did. I absolutely loved it. If y'all have never read it, y'all should read it. Okay. LaToya says, yes, my grandma used to get her books in a book club, and I used to sneak the books, but you can tell her writing no matter what she writes. I was like 13. Absolutely. Absolutely. Shirley says, I think I hear you saying no matter what genre, you still the author. Yes, absolutely. That's exactly what I'm saying, Shirley. It doesn't matter what genre you're writing in, you as the author have a voice and it's going to sound different. So that's like if I decided to jump into Christian fiction writing, and LaToya writes in Christian fiction writing, we're writing in the same genre, but my voice is going to sound different. When you read my work, you're going to be like, this ain't LaToya. This isn't how. She doesn't use words like that. She doesn't put words together like that. Her sentences aren't like this, right? LaToya's writing, she's usually more comedic. She usually, drops a joke here and there, and she's very witty. But Angel, like, I like her fiction too, but she's not real witty and humorous. She's just like real cutthroat and in your face. We're still writing in the same genre, but you can tell the difference between the two authors because our voices are different. So absolutely, Shirley. Absolutely. You're absolutely right. That's what I'm saying. Okay. All right. So right now I'm giving you all some reasons why, and I'm taking you somewhere. I'm always going to give you the background and I'm always going to build you up. So right now we are talking about why some writers find it difficult to find their voice in their writing. And the first reason I gave you all was comparison, because we read other people's work, we esteem other people, as you should. Some people are just awesome. Just like I was talking about Kimberly Lawson Roby. I absolutely love Danielle Steele as a romance author. Yes, I esteem these women. However, I have learned to embrace Angel Charmaine's voice as well. Okay, so you don't want to compare yourself. Number two, some writers find it difficult to embrace their voice because of a fear of judgment. You worry about what people will think, so you water down your words instead of speaking boldly. Let me tell you, as a writer, what is going to make you stand out is you sharing your voice the way it comes to you. You cannot be afraid of the people who not going to like your work. One thing that I see Latoya Dr. Mac do all the time, she will post her Amazon reviews. She will post her Amazon reviews. And even if it's like a 3-star, if it's a 1-star, if it's a 5-star, I notice that she will post them and she will give commentary about those reviews. And one thing that I love about self-published authors who are confident about the work that they put out, they know how to handle those 1-star, 2-star, 3-star reviews. And the truth is everybody is not going to like your work. Everybody's not going to like your writing. Everybody is not going to like your voice. Some people are going to, you know what? There are people who listen to me and they're like, oh, I cannot stand to listen to her talk because I'm loud. I have a very big voice. Even when I try to bring my voice down like this, even when I'm just like, oh gosh, when I try to bring my voice down so that it's, what do the old people say? Use your inside voice. Even when I try to use my inside voice, y'all, like this right here, talking like this is stressing me out. Talk like I can't even breathe. It takes so much energy for me to pull my voice down like this. So I'll be like, no, then what you gonna get? I have a big voice. I have a strong voice. I have a loud voice. It's my voice. So you know what? I have to be okay with people saying, I just can't listen to her right now because she's yelling. I'm okay with that. To me, that says that person is not connected to my voice. That person is not connected to what I have to say. I am not the person that person should be listening to, and I am so okay with that. The same way you have a voice, you have a tempo, you have a sound, right? People gonna like it or they're not gonna like it. You cannot be afraid of what other people are going to say about your voice. It's just like in singing. It's just like writing and singing. It's like in singing. You have some people who absolutely love Fantasia. They love listening to Fantasia. And then I've seen people who are like, all she does is scream all day. You have people who love Janet Jackson's voice. And then you have people like, she always whispering. Listen, you have got to embrace your own voice in your writing and not be afraid of who is going to try and judge you. You need to be bold in your writing. Right. Everybody's not going to like your voice. That's right, Deborah. Everybody's not going to like your voice. And you just have to be okay with that. You absolutely have to be okay with that. Okay. And then the third point I want to make that I believe keeps people from being able to find their voice is perfectionism. Like people want things to be so perfect. You understand what I'm saying? You're trying so hard to sound like a writer. I want to make sure that, I'm sounding eloquent. I want to sound educated in my writing. I want people to, right? So you're trying so hard to sound like a writer until you lose your authenticity. You lose your authenticity. So stop trying to be the perfect writer and you just be the writer. You just be the writer. Okay? So let me know in the comments, have you ever struggled with any of these? Let me see. Have you ever struggled with any of these? Comparing your voice to other people's voices, caring about what folks gonna say, or how they gonna feel about your voice in your writing. or maybe struggling with perfectionism and feeling like, gosh, I don't sound like a real author. I don't sound like a real writer. Have you ever struggled with any of these things? Because I know I have. I know I have. So let me know in the comments if you have struggled with any of these things that some authors, some writers, and it's not just authors of books, people who write blogs, people who write poetry. I'm sure even people who write songs, you got songwriters, right? Oh, I like that, Sandra, I like that. She says purpose writer, not perfect. Absolutely. Absolutely. Be a purposed writer and not a perfect writer. Peggy says, yes, she has dealt with that. I don't know. Like I said, I don't know about y'all. And just let me say this. I have taught English for years since I was 22. I taught English, I taught writing, I taught the conventions of writing, I taught all the things. Okay. I even taught AP literature. You understand? So trust me, even someone like me, when it comes to actually writing my own work, when it comes to putting pen to paper for myself, I still struggle with those things. And it's different when you're writing essays and you're writing academic writing versus putting your own story, your own creativity out there. But just let me say this, even in academic writing, your voice will shine through. That is how, as an English teacher, I always knew when my students were plagiarizing. I always knew. I always knew when my students were plagiarizing because I knew their voices. I knew the words that they typically use and the words they would never use. I knew words that I was like, this child don't even know what this word means. I could tell when my students just simply went to the thesaurus and tried to pick big words. I knew it. I knew when they just straight up copied and pasted from something. I knew. You know why? Because even in academic writing, even when you're writing essays or research papers or whatever, you still have a voice, and most teachers recognize the voices of their students in their writing. That's how they can always they can tell, like, you didn't write this, somebody else wrote that. Okay. All right. So now let's talk about how to discover and strengthen your voice as a writer. Okay. So here are a few ways that you can strengthen your voice as a writer. Taishika says, wow. Yes, honey. I used to catch my students up all the time. I used to be like, this, your mama wrote this. Who wrote this for you? Who wrote this for you? This was before they had all of the plagiarism apps that you could just upload their paper to something and it'll tell you what percentage of it is plagiarized. I just knew I could take certain sentences and I will put them in, like, in Google, and the article they got it from would pop up. So they'd be like, Miss Wright, I wrote this. And I'd be like, no, you didn't. This is where you got this from right here. This is not yours, baby. And it's okay if you use other people's words in your work, but you got to give them credit. You got to cite that, or it's plagiarism. Yes, be yourself, or these big words will choke you up. They absolutely will have you out here looking crazy. So, how do you find your voice? The very first thing that you need to do, I like that. The very first thing that you need to do is write like you speak. If you wouldn't normally say something in your everyday speech, guess what? Don't force it on the page. If you wouldn't normally use sentences, in a certain way, like, don't do it. And I'm gonna tell you why this was very difficult for me as an English teacher. I understand that there's a standard way to write, and There's a standard way to write and a non-standard way to write. There are certain things like you don't end your sentence in a preposition, and things like that. So when I'm writing, sometimes I'm thinking this is not standard, this is not correct. But because of the type of writing that I do, I have to tell myself sometimes, don't worry about whether or not this sentence is structured grammatically correct. Don't worry about that, because your readers, your audience is going to have a greater effect on them if you write it this way. But if you try to write it that way, that doesn't sound like you. Okay? Hold on a second. Your what is moving? Your eyes are moving. Yes, they are. My eyes are because I'm all over the place. I'm reading comments. I have my notes over here. So my eyes are all over the place. So please excuse me. Please excuse me. That's why I was telling y'all earlier. I take notes before I get on here and start talking to y'all. So I'm trying to manage all the things. I do not have anyone helping me at 11 o'clock. So I'm just trying to keep focused. So please excuse me. Oh, you messing with me, Shirley? I'm sorry, sis. I'm going to work on it. I'm going to work on it. Okay. So let your natural tone shine through in your writing. Let me give you an example of what I mean. I got pen and paper right here. I'm going to write. Let me hold on a second. Give me a second. I'm going to give y'all an example. Okay. I'm going to give y'all an example. I'm going to type this in. Y'all know we in class, right? So here, hold on a second. I'm going to give y'all an example. Okay, I want you to look at the screen. See, it says, where did you come from? Where did you come from? If I were writing this, if I were writing something and I wanted to ask somebody, like, where you come from, it's natural for me to say, where did you come from? That's what's natural for me. However, this bothers me right here. What bothers me is the from. What bothers me is the from. Because I'm like, I don't want to end the sentence with a preposition. I don't want to do that. So let me show you what I would do, and I had to stop myself from doing it. Now look at the bottom in blue. Look at the bottom in blue. So my natural voice would say, where'd you come from? But me trying to, show that, I know that you shouldn't end the sentence with a preposition, and I know that I would say, from where did you come? But where did you come from is my voice. From where did you come is not my voice. Can y'all see the difference? Can y'all hear me talking about, so from where did you come? It means the same thing, y'all. It means the same thing. Where did you come from? From where did you come? Means the same thing. But can you see the difference in the voice? This is what I'm trying to get you all to understand. You need to write like you speak. Tashika says, I'm not using those words that I can't pronounce. I'm using my country girl voice. Exactly. Exactly. Shirley says, where'd you come from? Where did you come from is your voice. Absolutely. Deborah says, yes, I see the difference. Deborah says no. No, don't do it. So this is an example of writing like you speak. And it's clear that if you all see me writing the bottom one, you know you're going to be like, okay, something ain't right. That's not Angel. I don't know who wrote this. Maybe she got a ghostwriter or something, but that's not her voice. Okay? So I want you all to write like you speak. Write like you speak. Let your natural tone shine through. If you're an author and you're concerned about being grammatically correct, let your editor focus on that. Let your editor determine whether or not your writing is grammatically correct. Let them fix that. But you focus on simply getting your thoughts on paper, getting the story on paper. Write it the way that you talk, and then allow your editor to clean it up. Deborah says, I keep my Southern slang and have to battle grammar. Here again, don't worry about grammar. And that takes me to number 2. How do you find your voice? Stop editing while you write. Perfectionism kills authenticity. Get your thoughts out first and then refine them later. People who try to correct their writing while they're writing, listen, you're going to be overwhelmed. You're going to lose your voice. You're going to lose your excitement and your zeal for writing. Just write. Do not worry about grammar. Do not worry about all of that stuff. Just write. Right now, I'm giving you some ways for how you can find your voice. Okay. Oh, Taishika. This right here is why you need an editor. She says, oh, want and won't. Those words with the same synonym trip me up sometimes. So actually, these would not be called synonyms. They would not be called synonyms. What you're thinking about are homonyms. And homonyms are words that are spelled differently, but they are pronounced the same. But just let me say, these two words are not homonyms either. I'm not laughing at you, sis. I'm laughing because it's just the English teacher and me. And a lot of people, it's because we country. We think they sound alike, but they don't. The W-A-N-T is want. Want. Like I want to eat right now. W-O-N-T, W-O-N apostrophe T is the contraction of will not. So it's won't. So one is want and one is won't. They don't sound the same. They're different. They're not homonyms and they're not synonyms. They have different meanings. Want means you desire something and won't means you won't do something. So they're not synonyms. Synonyms are words that have the same meaning or similar meanings. Homonyms are words that sound the same, but they're spelled differently. And want and won't are neither of those. Listen, I'm laughing because there's so many people who mix them up, but who don't realize what, that they are supposed to sound differently. But that's that Southern dialect. Absolutely. Shirley says something your editor can change. So this is a good point. This is a good point. Let me tell you this is why getting a good editor is important. Because you're right, your editor can change your voice if your editor does not understand the purpose of your writing, what you're trying to relay to your audience. If your editor does not know these things, they don't really get the vision of what you're doing, then your editor may go in and change your voice by changing the structure of your sentences, by changing the words that you're using. They may change your voice. So you got to be very careful on who your editor is. And it's important for you to sit down and have a talk with your editor and say, okay, this is what my book is about. This is what I'm trying to convey. This is, this, you got to give them some specifics on the feel and the heart of what it is that your book is, so that when they go do their editing, when they go do their job, they won't change your voice. That's important. That's important. So that's a really good point, Shirley. That's a really good point. All right. So 1, you want to write like you speak. 2, stop editing while you write. Leave that for the editor. And 3, you want to write daily. The more you write, the more comfortable you're going to become with your own voice. You have to exercise it. Your voice is like a muscle. The more you write, the more you get comfortable writing, the more you get comfortable using your voice. It's just like talking. The more you talk, the more you get used to talking, the more it becomes just kind of natural for you to do. Don't you know? I'm going to also say this. You have got to learn to love your voice. Let me tell y'all, when I was younger, I did not like to hear myself, because even as a young girl, I had a deeper voice. My voice was deep. It was like raspy. And the other girls had these high-pitched girly voices, and my voice is not like that. I had, I got this big voice, this this alto tenor of a voice, my speaking voice, and I always thought that I sounded more masculine than the other girls. And so I really didn't like hearing my voice. It wasn't until I got older and then I embraced my voice when I realized, like, my voice is very powerful, it's very strong, it's very distinct. When you hear me, you know who you're listening to. It took me a long time to embrace my voice, but it takes you actually having to hear yourself. You have to listen to yourself talk. When I first started doing videos on Facebook some years ago, I did not watch my videos. I would not listen to myself because I did not want. I was like, I don't want to hear. But the more you write, the more you practice writing, the more comfortable you get with your voice, the more you will, you will learn what your voice is, and you will accept what your voice sounds like, just like I was gonna say speaking voice, y'all, but just like your speaking voice. Taishika says her editor told her she likes her voice. I do too. I'm telling you, I told you the other day that I loved reading your book. I could hear you. I could hear you in your book. And it was interesting to read because it was your voice. So absolutely, sis, absolutely. Okay. Another way for you to learn your voice is to read other people's works. Now, you're not reading their work to copy them or to compare yourself. You're reading them so that you can hear the different styles and to understand voice. The more you read, the more you'll be able to recognize other people's voices, their styles in writing. But you don't want to copy them. You don't want to imitate their voices. You want to be able to differentiate between their voices. You want to learn how to adapt, right? Your own voice, your own style. This is a pet peeve that I have with a lot of these new authors. Everybody's an author now. Everybody is self-published. Everybody's a writer now. And I'm one of those people. I believe everyone has a story. Everybody's got a testimony. Everybody's got a story. But everybody is not, I don't believe everybody has been called to be a writer. I don't believe everybody has been called to be an author. People say everybody got a book in them. No, everybody has a story in them, but I don't believe everybody has a book that they need to be writing. That's my personal opinion. I'm not saying that my opinion is right. I'm just saying that that's my opinion. But one of the problems that I have, it's a pet peeve. It is a big pet peeve of mine as a writer and as a reader. It bothers me that we've got all of these authors who don't read. They don't read. They don't read. I want you to think about something. Think about this. Every time that every time you watch an interview of a singer, anytime you watch a famous singer do an interview, people, and I won't say every time because sometimes people don't ask them the question, but interviews where the interviewer says, um, like who's your singing inspiration, or who did you grow up listening to, or who do you think you sound the most like? Almost every singer I have ever watched an interview have always said, "Oh my goodness, I love listening to jazz, and Billie Holiday was my favorite. And when I was little, I used to listen to the music and da 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 da. And then as I got older, I would start listening to Anita Baker, and just her voice was so mellifluous and da 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 da." Even actors and actresses, you ask them, like, who did you grow up watching? They'll be like, "Oh my goodness, I used to love this movie. And, every time I would see Denzel, da 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 da. Every time I watched Viola Davis, da 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 da." But you ask these current authors, what is your favorite? Like, who's your favorite? Who are your favorite authors? What do you read in your leisure? Like, what keeps they don't read nothing. Okay, so how are you perfecting your craft if you don't even participate in your craft? You don't read. How do you expect to become a better writer if you don't read? How can you determine what your distinctive voice is if you haven't heard any other voices? How do you know who your voice resembles if you don't read anything? Huh? 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 Don't get mad at me. I want us to be better at what we do. In order for you to really understand your voice, to be able to recognize your voice, in order for you to be able, right, to perfect that voice in your writing, it's important that you hear different voices. But you won't hear other voices in writing if you don't read. If you say that you're going to be a romance author, you're going to write in the romance genre, you need to be reading some romance books. You need to read different romance books written by different authors so that you can see, like, okay, which style do I kind of fit? What do I like? What do I not like? What I think is really good. Not only that, but there are going to be similarities. When a person who likes to read romance reads a romance book, they're looking for certain things. There are certain things that are unique to specific genres. If you don't actually read books in the genre that you are writing in, you won't have a clue as to what those unique things are that should be included inside of your book to make sure that your reader is getting the experience they want to get from your genre. Am I making sense? Thank you, Miss Shirley. I appreciate you for popping in, and I'm almost done because we are only here for an hour, so I got about 6 minutes remaining. You have a great day. It was good seeing you. Okay. All right. And the last thing I want to say is write from a place of truth. Don't write about stuff that you don't know about, whether it's fiction, whether it's poetry, whether it's a personal essay. Honesty is always going to connect with your reader. Honesty is always going to resonate with your target audience. So write from a truthful place. I always tell people, I don't talk about stuff I don't know about. I don't. I am never going to come on here and tell you all how to create content to have your first $1 million day. You know why? Because I ain't never had $1 million day. I can't tell you. I can't tell you how to do that. That would be me writing from the untruth. It's not going to connect. And not only is it not going to connect, it's not going to work for you. You know why? Because I've never done it. I don't know how it's done because I've never done it. I got to learn that myself. So I'm not going to write a blog, a book. I'm not going to do just because everybody is writing about how to help people make have a 6-figure day. I'm not going to write about that because I don't know nothing about that. I'm going to write about what I know. Just like when I come here and share with you all, I'm not sharing with you all things that I don't know, things that I haven't done, things that I haven't experienced. I'm only going to share with you what I know. So it's always going to be truthful. It's always going to be honest. It's always going to connect. You're going to be like, girl, I needed to hear that. Oh, Angel, I understand that. You know why? Because I am writing from a place of truth. Okay? Based on what I just shared with you, based on the tips that I just shared with you, what connects with you the most? Working on writing like you speak, or working on stop editing while you write, or getting to a place where you're writing daily, reading more authors, reading more widely, or writing from a place of truth. Like, which one of these do you think is one that you probably need to work on a little bit more? And for those of you who are just coming into the space, today we are talking about finding your voice as a writer. And I started out by sharing some reasons why it's difficult for some writers to find their voice, why it's a struggle. And then I shared a few ways that you can get stronger in finding your voice as a writer. And that's where we are right now. And I'm wrapping this up for the day. I am typically here at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, Monday through Friday. And I just come in this space to share with those people who like to learn from me, people who people who consider me a mentor, people who like to learn about writing or podcasting or whatever it is that I choose to share in that day. This space is for you. And I just say glean. Take what serves you and leave whatever doesn't serve you. That's what this space is designed for. It's kind of a potluck, a potluck of information. Here again, this is one of those things. A lot of people will say, that I need to niche down and I need to only talk to authors, or I need to only talk about being an authenticity coach, or I need to only talk about being a podcaster. And I choose not to do that. I have a potluck kind of voice. I have a lot of information to share, and I choose to share it the way I want to share it. Right. And I'm okay with that. Tashika says, writing exactly how I speak how Shika sounds. That's good, sis. Yes, keep focusing on that. Write how Shika talks, and let your editor worry about the grammar. Let your editor worry about those things. You simply share what you have to say on the page. Okay? Anybody else want to share which of those tips you think you need to work on a little bit more? And I want to thank you all for popping in today. Today's been a really great conversation. I appreciate you all coming in and talking to me. It makes this so much more fruitful. It gives me job satisfaction when I know that you all are actually learning and you're engaging with me. So I appreciate you. Okay. Deborah says, I was just talking about that. I'm not going to niche down because I have a lot to share with a broad audience. That's what I've always done. Speak Up Sis was born from a place of creating the spaces and providing the opportunities that I need for other people. What I needed, I create for other people. So Speak Up Sis, started with the Speak Up Sis experience, and then we moved into Morning Moments with Believers, the Facebook Live, and then we moved into podcasting, and then we moved into books, and then we moved into, so the Lord has called me to create spaces and provide opportunities for people to open up their mouths and share their stories. Even before there was a Speak Up Sis, when I was living in Washington, the model God gave me for me was sharing stories to inspire yours. And so every place that I was writing, sharing stories to inspire yours. That's what I do. I share stories. I share information to inspire your stories and to inspire you to open up your mouth and share yours. Right? So listen up, good people. Your voice is important. Your words absolutely matter. Speak Up Sis has always been about opening up your mouth and sharing, knowing that what you have to say, knowing that your voice is an asset and not a liability. The way you see the world, the way you express yourself is valuable. You need to know that. You need to know that. There's no one out there who has your voice. It's like a fingerprint, right? It's like a fingerprint. Your story and your way is what's needed. Stop shrinking yourself. Please. Please stop shrinking yourself. Write freely. There's even a type of writing that's called free writing. It's good with brainstorming and getting your ideas out on the paper. And what you do is you start writing and you don't lift your hand up. You time it. Like you might set your timer for 5 minutes and you write whatever. It's like a stream of conscious writing. You just write about whatever comes to your mind for that allotted amount of time without picking your hands up. And you know what? You're going to get some good content. If you don't actually free write like that, you probably should try it. Probably should try it. So I'm going to wrap today by saying to you all that tonight at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I am going to be launching my brand spanking new workbook. It is 31 days of self-discovery and transformation. This is a reflective workbook that is going to help you to navigate through the maze of your thoughts and emotions and experiences for 31 days. There are advanced writing prompts in here. So you will write for 6 days. And then on the 7th day, you're going to reflect. And you're going to do this for 31 days. I'm going to be talking about this tonight at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So feel free to tune in on the Speak Up Sis YouTube channel. That is where this is going to be. So I welcome you. If you are not already connected, then make sure you type in youtube.com/speakupsis. That's going to take you directly to the Speak Up Sis YouTube page, because that's where we're going to be tonight. So if you're not already subscribed, go ahead and do that. And we're going to be talking about this. I also have something very, very special that I'm going to be releasing tonight as well. So I'm going to release this, but I also have something else that is going to help you women with self-care. It's going to pair really, really well with this. I believe you all are going to love it. And yeah, I'm super duper excited about that. You'll have an opportunity to order a Sit With You for a Minute, Sis, my 31 days of self-reflection workbook, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time tonight. Again, go to youtube.com/speakupsis. It's going to take you to my YouTube page, and that is where we're going to meet tonight for the virtual launch of Sit With You for a Minute, Sis. Okay. And like I said, I have something very, very special that I'm also going to be releasing tonight as well. So if you want to know what that is, make sure that you tune in. Come kick it with me tonight. Okay. All right. Um, do you all have any questions for me before I get out of here today? Before I jump out of here, let me go ahead and remind you all that we do have an early bird special going on for the Speak Up Sis Awards. This year, the third annual Speak Up Sis Awards ceremony and dinner gala, it is happening on Sunday, September 7th, 2025. Early bird tickets are available right now through February 16th. They are $75. That's a steal, y'all. General admission tickets are regularly $150. So as of February 17th, the same day that nominations open, our general admission tickets will be their regular price $150. So if you know that that you are going to be at the third annual Speak Up Sis ceremony and dinner gala, unless the Lord calls you home, and I pray that's none of us, right? But if you know that that's the only thing gonna keep you out the room, go ahead and get your ticket. Because it's only $75. You can get up to 5 tickets at that cost. So if you and your friends want to go ahead and grab your tickets, you can go ahead and do that. Also, if you are interested in being a table sponsor, you can do that as well. We also have an early bird promotion for our table sponsors. If your business becomes a sponsor at our first tier level as a table sponsor, it's $150. And you get all the promotional things that we always have. You have a beautiful graphic that is placed on the center of the table. It's got a QR code promoting your business and all that good stuff. But if you become a table sponsor before January 31st or through January 31st, then you will also receive a complimentary general admission ticket. So the table sponsorship level does not come with a ticket to the gala, but for this early bird promotion for the table sponsorship, you will receive 1 ticket so that you are able to attend the gala as well. So you have until January 31st to take advantage of being a table sponsor for this discount, or excuse me, in order to receive the complimentary ticket if you plan to attend. All right. But the early bird tickets, they will remain available through February 16th. Okay. All right. And with that, everybody, y'all have an amazing day. And I will see you tomorrow at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. We'll talk about something else tomorrow. You got to come to see what we're going to be talking about. All right. Take care.